Teaching Writing Online. Here I am. Here we are at the beginning of week 12, and here I am at Washington Square Park. This park is one of the four kind of corner parks or intersection parks in Philadelphia, and this one is owned by the National Park Service now at this time. Just show you a quick tour. Over here is a memorial and a forever flame for Revolutionary War soldiers. If you go back that way, you'll hit Independence Mall, which is also national park land. And here you also see a lot of very large trees. And I had mentioned this park as a place when Laura was writing about her trees. I wanted to come here and share some writing, which I actually did do, but I came with a 10-year-old friend of mine, and I didn't get much writing done, ultimately. So here I am at Washington Square Park. Washington Square Park is very interesting. To me, it's interesting because it actually used to be the reason that there's a memorial for Revolutionary soldiers is that it was a burial ground for Revolutionary War soldiers. And then it was used as a gathering spot for African Americans or Haitians who came to America, and it was thought to be a place where after the Haitian Revolution, blacks here in the U.S., many of whom were enslaved, were organizing with Haitians who had come and would sell goods and wares here. So it's this kind of revolutionary spot. It also ended up being used during the yellow fever epidemic in Philadelphia that killed, I don't know, almost a tenth of the population, I think, or maybe even higher than that, when, I forget what year that was, early 1800s, but it was transmitted by mosquitoes. But before they knew that, there were all these sort of crazy things that they were trying to do to address the pandemic, or the epidemic. I guess it was a pandemic in a way, not global, but and people were actually quarantined and in Philadelphia. People who had enough money left, and everybody else who stayed here, no one would let them leave Philadelphia because they thought there was something about Philadelphia that actually spread the disease. Ultimately, they found out it was mosquitoes, both a local problem, but obviously a more regional issue. So anyway, this is an interesting park. It has all this history, all these layers. I just thought I'd come here as we start week 12, and I don't know, I can come up with a metaphor of the different layers or the different sort of pieces of history that we're going to pull together this week and do prototypes. So in this past week, you've been reflecting on what you've been learning. You've been thinking about the metaphors that drive your work. You're thinking about the kinds of designs that you want to move forward with. You've been looking at resources. You've been looking back at the work you've been doing all semester. And this week, I want you to focus on something. Really try to find one thing. So that might be an activity. It might be a curricular set. It might be a resource set. It might be a process, a protocol. It might be a new tool, a forum. But try to focus in on one thing that you want to, and create kind of a test of how you might use it when teaching and writing online. Create a prototype, and a prototype is really sort of like a first iteration of something. Like test some ideas and build something that you can then reflect on, like, oh, does this work? Is this what I want? You can get feedback from others. And so this week we want to like build a prototype. We want to test a prototype. So see if your small group will test your prototype, post it on VoiceThread for others to test too, share it maybe with some of the writers that you've been talking to and interviewing. And then after testing your prototype, spend some time reflecting on, is that exactly what I want? How did it work? What was good about it? What do I notice? What do I wonder? Those kind of questions, okay? And so by the end of this week, you want to have built something, tested it, got feedback on it, and done reflection. So that's really the focus of this week. Then next week, we will do it again. And so next week, we will, it's my friend Alexis and Jean. So next week, we will do it again, and we'll take our reflections forward, and we'll do another prototype. So in the second week, you can prototype the same thing you were working on this week and just go deeper with it, or you could prototype a second thing that also needs to get built to support your teaching writing online, okay? So the next 2 weeks, we're going to keep building and testing and reflecting on things, and the size of what you test is up to you. Remember that ultimately in our final week, we want to share something that we can take forward to teach writing online. So really think about something you really will use, something you really can kind of take beyond this class and put to use right away. So that's it. Let me know if you have questions. Go back to the design thinking resources that I've posted the last couple of weeks. Remember to look at all the resources that everybody's gathered, and yeah, post what you build on VoiceThread, and then give us a chance to look at it, and make sure to ask us like how we should test it if you'd like us to do so. Okay? Thanks so much. Have a great one.